clerk of the city of Newark. We have a prayer.
Yes, amen. You want to lead us in prayer?
Thank you for being a Lord. Thank you for blessing us with an opportunity to come together to discuss the affairs of the people. Thank you for good health, and we ask that you will bless us this gathering, bless this meeting, and give us the wisdom and the insight and foresight to make decisions that is going to be beneficial to us all. Thank you. Amen.
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 The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Commissioner Carter,
Present.
Commissioner Council, Commissioner Washington,
Present.
Commissioner Hawk, Chairman Logan.
Present.
Chairman, we have a quorum. Moving to public participation in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the New York Housing Authority opens every public meeting for comments of the public. Each person choosing to speak at the meetings will be limited to 5 minutes to speak on any subject on or off the agenda. All speakers must state their name and address for the record. However, in accordance with NJSA 10.4-12, nothing in the act shall contribute to limit the discretion of the public body to permit or prohibit or regulate the active participation at any meeting. Therefore, please be advised that the Newark Housing Authority will not entertain any comments from persons who communicate obscene material, make statements which are considered bias, intimidation, in which a person intends to intimidate any individual or with race, color, religion, gender, handicap, sexual orientation, or ethnicity, or makes comments including to class or speech in offensive language. The person who makes these statements they're allotted 5 minutes of public discussion. Any person who persists out of chapter or interrupts the peace and order of the meeting will be escorted off the premises. Our first speaker this evening is Ms. Maria Bryan.
Good evening, everyone.
Good.
I'm going to start off with, I don't know this thing, I don't know. A question I have in reference with Section 8. I'd like to know why do the caseworkers are not answering the people back? You tell us to use the caseworker. We call them, leave a message, they don't respond back. Everything is not an email, because I keep saying this to y'all again. I can't wait 72 or 36 hours for something that's going on with my landlord or my rent or my income or something I did. I need to know a follow-up. We don't communicate back with saying, I'm working on this matter. Let somebody know what you're doing. It's really just not right. The other thing is, when we come see the caseworker, I don't know who the people be in the front, but that's who handles the business. She calls the caseworker to tell her what I'm telling her. We got third parties, 4 parties. How many people we passing our information to? There's no need to have a caseworker if I could tell the lady at the desk and she can help me. She calls the lady in the back and she don't even come out to make sure and clarify. She tell her what to do. I'm just sick of it. The other thing is the form, the HUD form, the 92006. We do that in our recertification. That's the form that you put if you want somebody to know all your information. If you're behind in your rent, you're getting late, all that, and you put a person down. When that happens to you, it's not being you. So what's the purpose? The other thing is, who do in Section 8 see these landlords out here? What person or persons talk to these landlords about the issues when moving in, if they have issues with Logan, the landlord now, excuse me, now the imam is the landlord. I don't know who to pay my money to, but I'm going to research, and I know it's a law passed in January that said that Everybody has a right to know who the landlord is. LLC is not my landlord. Where I live at is what's on the paperwork, LLC. So I'm going to talk to my house. Where's the landlord? I thought we supposed to know like y'all supposed to know. The next thing is, how long do it take for an inspection? Somebody got to move in an apartment. I got to be out of this apartment and move in there. How long is it going to take for that inspection to happen? They're behind, as they say. How long is it going to take them to catch up? People are waiting to get in. Landlords is not letting these people in. If you don't have the money, the Section 8 is taking too long. They ain't waiting 2-3 months. So now what are we going to do? You're going to have build up homeless? I thought we were trying to help the homeless decrease. You're about to increase. Some things has to be done, and I think it's unfair the way the people are being treated. I don't care if you're public housing, you're Section 8. We all do. As far as the rent, Mr. Spicer, you want your rent money? Tell your employees stop denying people money when they get there. Take the money. Put them on a payment plan if that's so. They don't even ask the people. They just push them out. Then you got a vacant apartment that you ain't gonna get no money to fix because HUD's gonna take it off the line, no money. You gotta fix it up to get somebody in there. This just don't make no sense. I'll come back later with that other information. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Ms. Kim Burns. Ms. Martha Robinson.
She's not here.
Viola Thomas.
She's not here.
I'm going to mispronounce the first name, I apologize. Victoria Bradley. Can you give me the correct pronunciation? Victoria. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the Section 8 Housing Authority Board. Hello, my name is Fakira Bradley. I'm a high-risk interventionist, PCCI certified at a level 2. I am also a lifelong resident of Essex County, Newark, New Jersey, to be exact. I am a housing choice voucher holder. I received my voucher in August of 2020. I was placed in a shelter, the Holiday Inn in Newark on Frontage Road, through a nonprofit organization by the name of Bridges. Forever grateful. For the last 5 years, I've been holding my voucher. I've been harassed by the Housing Authority at 500 Broad Street for the last 4 years. Due to embezzlement, I previously lived at 200 Georgia King Village, apartment 4G, where I was evicted illegally, and also framed because I started to ask questions about my amount of rent I was paying. Once I started to work, I have tried to figure out who was my Section 8 caseworker. Only caseworker I met over the phone was Blanca Santiago. She was a supervisor at the time. I have every email, I have every text. I have a SIP from 2022 when the problem started. I am assigned a caseworker. Came for help asking because I wanted to move and was treated poorly. I was harassed. No help, just disrespected. All due to embezzlement. At the time, my voucher was $1,250. I had no income due to being fired. My rent was $1,192. No income and still had to pay thousands back in rent. To Georgia King Village. I had every receipt, which in fact my rent was to be $0 because I had zero income at the time. Section 8 charged me $50. My rent overlapped. My portion was to be $0. My voucher at this time was $1,250. At the time, I got suspicious about the whole situation. I've been through pain, suffering, mental abuse, physical abuse because I went to jail. I had to take therapy, intense therapy. I refused medication. I was illegally evicted from 200 Georgia King Village. I've been through a lot. 10/15/24 was my last day. Misplaced, harassed by the Howard Authority at 500 Broad Street because of the strong connection that's shared with who formerly works for Georgia King Village. And she previously worked at the Housing Authority, the common denominator, who also work here once again. I currently live in a private home. I pay utilities, PSCNG, hot water, lights and gas, and my voucher amount is now 1944. I'm not working at the time, you see. And I always was honest with Section 8. My rent is $1,829. I gave you a copy of the utility check they sent me. And my PSCNG bill. First time not having a portion, even though with no income, I still had a portion living in Georgia King Village. I said, sorry, that bothered me a lot. Housing Authority Section 8 is utilities. What's left after my rent is paid is the utilities. The balance left would be $115, which is mailed to me to go towards utilities. The first check was $100. The second one was $65. This last one is $50. What is going on? My current bill is $224. I'm grateful for $100. There's definitely a misuse of federal funds. When I asked about the utility check, I was thrown out by Ms. Jackson with the Newark police. I don't come in housing authority anymore to talk to the case workers because they treat me bad and I'm afraid of going back to jail. I came too far. Misconduct. Behavior that violates the company policy or harmful to others. I need my voucher. Please rectify this. I'm not feeding the negative energy no more. I have proof, my current light bill, and also the $50 check that I never cashed because I needed somebody to be a witness to this. My civil rights has been violated, harassment, embezzlement, discrimination, oppression, jail, just to name a few. All because I asked simple questions and I noticed that they was digging in my check too much. Please help me, please, and thank you. My next step is the Department of Housing and Urban Development. I ain't put names to the mic net, but I know definitely who you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Deanna Gregory.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dion Gregory. I reside at 37 Village Place, apartment 8, New Jersey, 07103. The property is ran by Brick Street Gardens, 49 12th Avenue. And the reason why I'm here today is because they have increased my rent by 3%, and it wasn't approved by Section 8 yet. However, they're charging me late fees and they're threatening to take me to court. I know you guys said that you were working on that the last meeting when I was here, but I was just wondering, can something be put in place so that the clients won't be harassed by the landlords? That's all. Especially clients that pay their portion on time in full and never had an issue. I'm just asking. So that's why I'm here today, because they're threatening to take me to court, and my portion is paid in full. So, okay. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Felicia Austin Singleton.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Let me start off by saying that I never come to this mic basically for myself no more. I can advocate for Felicia. But I kind of figured maybe some of y'all missed me so much that my water went off on Tuesday in the complex. No 24 to 48 hour notice that they were going to cut my water off. But I went to my, let me get this right. I went to my office, my management office, who tells me to call down here to the work line. The work line puts me on hold and calls the management office. What was that about? I didn't have no faith in the work line anyway. It's my first time ever using it. I called my office for them to put me on hold after they tell me to call the work line, to put me on hold to call back to the office. That's ring around the rosies for me. So now I'm hot. Now I'm hot. You put me on hold to call the very person I called who told me to call you. So now I got my manager on the phone, I got the assistant manager on the phone, and I'm going bananas. Go call Khalif. They come out. I see option one in the background. They got some pretty nice new trucks, by the way. They were slumlord colludings with each other. Them and L&M, George King Village. But now they out there in my backyard, can't speak a lick of English. Nothing. For them to tell me, oh, we don't got no water on, we don't got no water. No. Had to call Khalif Thomas, Mr. Khalif Thomas, with my manager on the phone. I had the city water director on the line. Because I didn't want to bother Mr. Spicer, but that's for another occasion. Didn't want to bother him, but I was hot. He knew that the water was off, just like all y'all thought he was going to know. He knew. But the whole process of that work line is ridiculous. Get rid of it or put a resident there that would be willing to take the concerns and work them all the way through. It's time to get rid of some more, Mr. Spicer. It's time to bring these folks up. You got rid of some of them, but it's still some still here. We still coming here with the same concerns. Section 8, Section 8, Section 8, Section 8. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's your responsibility, commissioners, to be writing down and asking that lady what's going on. And if you already knew, then guess what? She shouldn't be back here again. I wasn't gonna bother y'all because it was cold, but it's getting a little bit ridiculous. The sound system ain't working right. Call Alif and get Smooth back here and put some real video up here. Because that's who gave us the real video. This is all mumble jumble, can't skip a beat, can't do nothing. We can hear you clear when you start taping at 4:30, but can't hear you when the speakers are talking. It's ridiculous. You are our employees. Whether you however you want to look at it, the housing authority is my employee. Without me, without these residents, you don't have a housing authority. We are participants of the program who deserve service. They knew not to get smart with me. I would never have that problem. My people know not to get smart with me because I'm gonna take it all the way to the top with you. But it's now your turns, commissioners. You are sitting there to do legislative duties through the executive director, but it's also your concern to listen to the residents and hear what they have to say and come up with a solution. The housing authority is in your hands. You ever notice and say, you give him the permission to execute whatever. I need you to get up, every last one of you, to get up and now get with these residents. What is the concerns? One of you should be at a RAD meeting. One of you should be at attending meeting besides Ms. Washington, who was already there. You should be there to listen to the residents and see what we can do to put in the annual plan. Come here, one of y'all should be at the annual plan meeting, giving us suggestions, us working together. If not, tell them, Pat, where I'm going. The old judge, right? Didn't I tell y'all that at the council? I'm going in. Yeah, keep on yawning because you're probably on there too. That's disrespectful. I'm standing up here talking as young. You don't have to want to hear what I have to say, but give me the decency enough to now write it down and then come back with comment. I don't want to hear from Mr. Spicer because if I want to hear Mr. Spicer, I wouldn't be here. It didn't go off. I was waiting for it. I was making up stuff by now. I thought it was going to go off. Thank you. Yeah, did it go off?
We're trying to do something a little bit different. I'm sorry.
Oh, I got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Otto. Mr. Edward Lewis.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here
trying to rectify a situation. First and foremost, I went to my manager after going down south to visit my daughter and asked her how could I obtain a voucher or a copy of my voucher. At which time she told me, Mr. Lewis, all you have to do is write a letter requesting your voucher. Because I wanted to find out how much the voucher is, because I got to how much the voucher was down where I wanted to live. So I wrote the voucher out that day, gave it to her. 2 weeks later, I went back to her office. I said, what's going on with my voucher? She said, oh no, I have to talk to my senior. I'll get back to you. Disregard, never got back to me, never said anything about my voucher. That's not the main reason I'm down here. The main reason is on November 23rd, I woke up at 10:30 to go to my bathroom. I had feces floating in my bathtub, tub overflowing into the floor. So I called the emergency number. They sent, an hour later, they sent out one of our workers in our building, one of the maintenance guys. He was there for an hour or more, trying to get the feces out my tub. Meanwhile, I'm still in my house, in my bedroom with a towel by my door, inhaling this feces. After that, once he couldn't get it out, I called back again, second call. I said, could you please send out an emergency plumber? I have feces overflowing in my tub. I can't use my bathroom. And no disregard. They said, well, okay, we'll send out somebody. They sent out the main maintenance man. He was there for about an hour, still couldn't stop my tub still overflowing. To the point where I called the third time and asked, please send out an emergency plumber. These guys cannot handle this problem. About an hour later, they sent out, I guess the emergency guys are two Spanish guys. They were in my house for 12 hours trying to unstop my tub. Water overflowing in my apartment by my room door, out the hallway, down to the second floor, down to the main office. Only to find out, I asked the manager, I said, well, can y'all at least strip my floors and wax them at that time? I don't want new floors, could you strip them and wax them? Because I know they have feces on them. No disregard, total disregard. Nothing has been done to my floors. So I didn't know where to go to rectify the situation, because I've been to her about 2 or 4 times. I got messages on my phone where I tried to contact her. So finally I went out to her office. I said, please, Mrs. Saber, can you please do something with my floors? She told me, sorry, there's nothing I can do. Meanwhile, a little later, maybe a week later or so, they were redoing her whole office. They redid the second floor, the water went down to the second, to the office. They did that floor. Now my floors are buckling up. They have little pockets in them, and my floors are starting to crack. I got pictures in my phone if you don't believe me. I keep an immaculate house. Immaculate. I guarantee you, my house is top 5 in that whole building. I guarantee it. You can see on my phone. It's total disregard, total disrespect for me. So on the 5th, I went down to the council meeting, spoke with them. Sent out his guy to talk to me in the hallway to get his phone number, whatever. Never heard from them, anything. So on the 5th, when I went back to my building, on that evening, I was going downstairs to get some stuff from Amazon. I was approached by one of the workers, boastfully and aggressively saying, why did you go downtown and tell them people that we didn't do nothing? I'm not a liar. That's one thing, I'm definitely not. Now you're attacking my character. So we don't speak no more. So on the next day, on the 6th, Mr. Seema and a secretary came to my office, came to my house, and said, early in the morning, knocked on my door and said, we need to take pictures of your apartment. No problem, take pictures of my apartment. I know that was for a front, because she knows my apartment is immaculate. No, I watched it the whole time, no pictures were taken of my floors, which was damaged, none of them. The next day, I went shopping early that morning, only to find out when I came back, me and my neighbor was talking, only to find out somebody had been in my apartment. Nobody notified me. Any inspector was coming to visit to see my floors. The manager overheard me talking to my neighbor and said, oh, the inspector came in to look at your floors. I wasn't notified, and still nothing has been done to my floors. I got pictures on my phone. You can see my floor right now when they're buckling, they're cracked, they're discolored. I don't live like that. Never have, never will. That's what I came down here for today.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Good to see you, man. I ain't seen you in like
All right, Brad. Long
20
time.
years, man. I remember you a long time ago when you was out putting in due diligence with the potwater kids and
Not only that, I worked Section 3 for over a year. You couldn't find a piece of paper with no on that property at 516.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Keonda White.
Good evening, Keonda White, 1C Grafton. I'm here to speak on multiple things. I came one time last year to speak on some things, but to me, nothing has changed. One, on the week of January the 14th, I called about my oven not working. This came in on Monday, took the stove apart, but didn't fix it until Thursday. I had to call back multiple times in a day. When they did come fix it, they left the trash in the house. They left the box that the new part came in, and then they left the old part on the counter. I have a 9-year-old. I don't need her to complain with things like that. Also, when they came to do the repair, I have keys to both doors. I keep the chain on my back door for me and my child's safety. They came in, the chain was on the door. They broke the chain instead of going to the front door. Another issue I have is getting rent receipts. I was told by the young lady who answered the phone, I have to call my manager. If I want one, I have to request it. Unfortunately, by the time I get home, the office is closed. But when I finally did get a receipt, what was supposed to be a receipt, I gave everybody one. It was this. I need an explanation. I have no clue what this is. One, there's dates missing. Two, you can see where there was a month where the rent wasn't put into the month after that. And some of the rent I paid is missing from this. So if I ever had to show this to anybody as proof that I'm paying my rent, I can't because it's not correct. I'm also still waiting for my research information. It was due in September, which I sent. I received a notice with the new application during winter break. I work in a school, so we were off. I was told it had to be in by December 31st. I tried to explain I didn't have access to print anything until I returned to work on the 3rd. But in return, I was told that if it wasn't in by the 31st, that my housing voucher would be terminated. So what I did was I had somebody print the previous application and information. I put it in the Dropbox by the 31st. Today is February the 27th, and I haven't heard a thing. So I don't know what my new research is, so I guess technically I don't have a lease. And I get it, putting the rent in the Dropbox is protocol. But as far as I know, we still can't get in the office unless we make an appointment. Unfortunately, they're open from 8 to 4, 8 to 5. I don't get home till 5:30, 5:45. So they're closed when I get there. I just feel as a tenant, I need better communication. I need to not be disrespected when I call. And that's that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mihira Bomani.
You know we Mrs. Spice Somebody left some, this goes with that.
Okay. I apologize.
Mr. Spice, yeah, I'm back. So first, let me say Munir Bumani to the listening audience. Greetings to the people of Newark. Newark Housing Director Leonard Spicer, and the commissioners. Just for a point of information and the update, we still need to think about changing time and location. As our family at the last meeting, Donna Jackson, we need to do some changes with that, going to the communities, into the house areas, and some meetings. Also to say there's a new HUD director, Secretary of HUD, is, in office. And based on his update on his website, he said that the Newark Housing Authority, HUD, is failing its mission. So what I'm here today is to ask you all for the record, what is your mission? What is your plan? What is your goals? And what is your accomplishments to address the low-income housing shortage, the resources and the unemployment crisis for the people living in public housing and also the people who are receiving housing choice vouchers? Question. As you see, and I'm going to always say that Newark is in a state of emergency. We have a low-income housing crisis. We have a high foreclosure. We are dealing with poorly maintenance housing and also Section 8 units. We have a lack of sustainable resources and job opportunities for people that's living in Newark housing complex. And we got, the list could go on. But I only got a little bit of time. I'm going to use it to my advantage. So we need to get an update also on the 200 units, because I got a couple of people that's on the list for those 200 units. You put 15 already in some units for the unhoused Newark population. And we also need to get an update on the units that need a rehabilitation that you're supposed to be putting back on the housing roll. We need to get a list on how that's going. And because we need people to move into those units. You're looking at me like that. I got a question for you when I answer. Okay, so Newark Housing Authority, you have to do a better job in creating more low-income housing, just to sum it up. More Section 8 homeowner conversion, because that's been on the record since, on the record since, Clinton era in 1988 or sometime. And just to have it being highlighted on this new administration, Section 8 homeowner conversion been in existence for a while. So you need to do a better job with putting people in to homeowner conversion. I see you had something the other day on Grafton, and I think it was a lot of people was there. Hopefully you do a better job with the homeowner conversion. And also maintaining the units, and also to help penalize these Section 8 slumlords. Not only housing authorities doing a poor job, but individuals that are on a housing choice voucher having issues with slumlords, with not maintaining their property. So you need to do a better job with helping to penalize, because going through code enforcement, a lot of these cases are being dismissed. If you listen to the council meeting the other day, a lot of cases are being thrown out. So it's time for you to take up the mantle to deal with the Section 8 slumlords. Do you all consider putting one-for-one replacement back on the book? We need that to be placed back on the book, and whatever you can do to do that, we need that. We also need Section 3 hiring back on the books. It's urgent to do that. So hopefully with the new administration that we have under the Trump administration, maybe these some of the things that we can pull together and work to get make happen here. So we got to do better, all of us, all right? And I've been trying to reach out to you. Is that your right number? Yeah. Okay, so you should respond. Don't have people texting you if you're not going to respond. That's I'm new to that.
We can talk about that after the meeting. But then you don't want to talk after the meeting.
Oh, I catch you.
Not responding? That's it?
Not if you're not an approved speaker, man, you cannot. So you know how this process works. If you're not an approved speaker,
But you
cannot.
changed the last minute.
We provided ample notice as regulation requires.
Oh, you went to the regulation?
Yes, I do cite regulations. Evening. Hey, as always, we try to do what we can, and when we need to improve, we take ownership of those things and we try to do better. So we have had conversations, as of an hour ago, right, when we had some conversations regarding the HCV department. What they are working to improve, and what we, Newark Housing Authority, as the owner of the program, is working to improve, and how we can work symbiotically to make those improvements together. Right, as we are aware, CGI has rolled off, so Quadale will be stepping in to do the inspections. So that should expedite inspections, because now they're able to adjust and move their inspectors as need be. So when those emergencies come up, they're able to move the inspectors to get those inspections done in a more timely manner. I know from experience that there's been a couple of calls this week regarding emergencies, and I relayed that to Quadale, and they were able to get out within 24 hours to make sure those inspections happened. So I know factually, or at least anecdotally, this week they have been responsive to emergencies. So I can only then assume, as we move forward, as those things come up, we have a direct line of communication with the entity that's doing the inspections, as well as the entity that is handling the RTAs and RFTAs, that we are now able to work together to effectuate the process of families moving in, ensuring that there's habitability at those units, et cetera. There's a minimum rent in all of our programs. So if you lose the job, there's still a minimum rent. That's just how the programs are set up here in Newark. We're definitely looking to any utility allowance issues to ensure that the adequate amount is being provided. Again, I don't think, just to make sure we're on the same page, utility allowance is a dollar amount that the housing authority issues to the tenant that is supposed to subsidize the utility. It is not going to pay the entirety of the utility. It was never meant to do that. Right. But if there is variances in that utility allowance, I'll definitely take a look at that and have the appropriate staff look into that. Again, I don't want to come up to the podium and give misinformation, because sometimes it's not enough information to weigh in, but I don't want, at the same time, I don't want individuals to feel that we're ignoring them. Right. Landlords have the right to go up on rent. Annually, typically they will go up on your rent somewhere between 3% and 7%, right? So if a market rate tenant, if a tax credit tenant has received notice that their rent has gone up, that's pretty normal for the market, right? If they are an HCV participant, if they have a tenant-based voucher, a project-based voucher, I need to look into that because it's not really clear. But across the board, landlords do have the authority to go up on your rent. Hey, we have a work order center, and the intent, it sounds like in that example that was the work order center did what it was supposed to do in the manner that was intended. So there are always going to be things that happen that are happening in real time, right? And that information does not funnel to all 300 plus employees simultaneously. So if you call and there was an emergency, or someone at the work order center team said, hey, the site management needs to know about this immediately, it makes sense for them to pick up the phone and call the site and be like, hey, are you aware of X? Now, if the site is then looking at the person going, then that's a conversation we'll have with the manager, right? Because they can't then say, hey, yes, I see that it's a problem. You need to call the work order center, and not then communicate with someone internally to ensure that that's being addressed, right? But to lay the responsibility of the work order center, who's there to receive, not to mitigate. They're behind a desk inputting information. For them to try to ding them for picking up a phone saying, hey, this sounds pretty serious, let me call the office, as opposed to create a work order, I give them a thumbs up for taking the extra step of calling the office saying, are you aware you probably need to get this addressed, right? We will have the conversation with our internal staff to make sure everyone's being aware and the appropriate steps are being taken by the management to ensure that they're doing what they're supposed to abate emergencies, because there's always this, a maintenance super there, right? So if there's an emergency of that nature, your maintenance super needs to be hot and heavy trying to get those things addressed, right? There have been a number of individuals that have gone to different places to air their concerns and grievances. That's their right. That's their First Amendment right in this country that we have. And I think that's a beautiful thing. We also have provided city council, most of city council members, the work orders addressing those units, the pictures addressing those units, the fact that we replace the vanities and such in those units. Those things weren't mentioned at the time, but everything that we needed to do to address the issue has been done. And that's as far as we take it. If you are living a RAD property, you do have a option to exercise choice mobility, which allows you to apply for a housing choice voucher. I'm looking at you, Commissioner Washington, because I know you've asked me about that a couple of times. So my answer remains the same, that if you are a RAD resident and you would like, or you're interested in a choice mobility voucher, which is a tenant-based voucher, you have to reach out to the HCV office. Hey, if you would like your manager to help you with that application, that's perfectly fine. But ultimately, it has to come down here, right? So sometimes we look for individuals to give us information and to guide us in things that they don't have any responsibility in. And then we're a little bit disappointed when they aren't able to give us the answers we were looking for. They aren't the place where you need to be looking to begin with. Right. So we have an email address that's set up. We have a phone number that's set up. The phones do work. There's an automated system. You call in alphabetical order, it gives you all the departments. You push a number, it gets transferred to that number. So if someone doesn't answer the phone, which does happen sometimes, because people can only be on one or two phones at a time, that they will call you back within 24 hours if you leave a voicemail message. We've made that a standard since those have come back up. Right. Maintenance at Riverside, hey, again, we would definitely take a look into that. Those things are unacceptable. Again, we are here to serve our residents. So if the hours aren't sufficient, aren't working, we definitely talk with staff to see how we can to potentially expand the hours so that individuals can come in, especially at those family properties. And we've had that conversation already, right? At family properties where we are hoping that people are gainfully employed, where we're looking for people to be working towards self-sufficiency. Yes, the hours may need to change when they're opening later and staying open later because people are at work, right? So we definitely have those conversations, and we've kind of ebbed and flowed in some offices, but I will definitely take a deeper look at that to see if that's something we need to do. Equally so, I've said before, I don't have any objection to theoretically an office being closed on a Monday because they're open on a Saturday, right? So again, we can be responsive if we know what the need is, but I will definitely address that at the next tenant association council meeting. Since all of them are there on a monthly basis, I think this is something that we should bring up there so they can kind of give us what the pulse is at each various community on what that community needs. I have no knowledge of Newark Housing Authority being singled out of the 3,400 housing authorities across the country by the new administration. I'd be quite flabbergasted if that was the case. The reality is across the country, public housing, the housing choice voucher, it is not living up to what everyone envisioned it to be. Because on the public housing side, there's $1 trillion gap of the funding that we were expected to have for capital improvements that hasn't materialized. The money that housing authorities receive for HAP, for payment of rent in the HCB program, ebbs and flows. One Congress will fund you more, and another Congress will fund you less, but that doesn't change the number of people that we're trying to serve, but it does impact the amount of money that we have to serve those people. So until we are 100% funded across the board, there's always going to be a deficit. So we try to do the best we can. Everyone in this industry tries to do the best they can with the resources they have. Section 3 was intended to be a workforce program within housing to allow individuals to get marketable skills that they could then transfer to full-time employment, not with the housing authority, but with market rate, I should say market rate, but with private businesses throughout any municipality. It was not intended to be, we're going to hire Bob at $400 an hour for the last 11 years, $400 a day, $400 a month for the last 11 years to augment the maintenance. And that person's going to do the cleaning while other people do other things. Maintenance is supposed to clean as well as address work orders. Right? And until we can roll out a robust training plan that meets the requirements of Section 3, then we won't have one, because we're not into a situation in which we are using or manipulating the residents we have. If we are not able to pay them a living wage, if we're going to employ them, if we're not able to give them real transferable skills, then we are not going to participate in something that's unethical. So as much as people may not appreciate the fact that I stopped it, until we can do what it's supposed to do, we are not going to do it. It's that simple, right? Each of the commissioners have in front of them a tablet. As I mentioned in the last meeting, that's meant so going forward, you all will be able to see in real time reports. So as we are moving to Yardi, you will have your access now. I'm not sure if all the information has populated. It takes a little while because of how big the network is and pulling all the information down. You will be able to see what the occupancy is. You will be able to see what the tenant accounts receivable is without waiting for someone else to tell you. So you will be able to log in. You will be able to go to a particular site and you can see for yourself, so you can ask questions in real time. Right? I am trying to eliminate the middleman, right, to make sure you all are able to get down and drill down to the real data so you can be responsive to those individuals that are asking you questions. Equally so, earlier this month, we did work with Human Resources to ensure we had a little kickback, I'll call it, for our staff for the Super Bowl. As I continue to say here, as much as work that has to be done, you have to recognize the people that are here doing the work day in and day out, right? And that means sometimes you have to say, hey, take a break for an hour or so. You already got a lunch anyway, so come out and commune with the people that you spend more time with than your family, because you're here 9 to 10 hours a day. And that was a success, right? People enjoyed that opportunity. My office had an opportunity to meet with the Essex County Courts earlier this month to engage them directly on what we are doing to reduce the number of families that we bring to eviction. This is actually landlord-tenant court. What we're doing to address some of those matters as it relates to mediation and to ensure that there's open communication between our entity and theirs, so we can figure out how to address things in the most efficient manner process. What we don't want to do is have hundreds of cases on the law that either aren't going to go anyplace, or they're just being kicked from one month to another to another to another. It serves no one any good. Let's figure out how we can keep people housed by having conversations and figuring out what the crux is and addressing that where we can. Again, what I said, same thing I said last month. Hey, if you are a parent, you have a child and your child is involved in violent crime, yes, you are responsible for your child, right? If you are involved in a violent crime, you are accountable. And that will calls for eviction or termination of your assistance, which is why we take you to court. Things of that nature we can't have a conversation about. It is about the community as a whole. And if you are, or there's a potential case that a family is a nuisance to the community, then we have to remove that so the community can thrive. And ultimately, we are here about communities. Equally so, we are working to complete the safety and security grant to apply for grant funding of $250,000 for Kretschmer Elderly, to increase the lighting there, to work with keep fobbing the building, to work with ensuring that there's adequate security going forward. So we wait to hear the status of that. The grant is due at the end of March. We completed an employee survey, which will give a robust report on March's board meeting. Of just over 300 staff, we had 162 staffers, so about 52% of the agency replied to the survey. So when I go through that with you all, we were very much surprised at some of the results. It seems like we are headed in the right direction, but annually we have to do a touch point with our employees to find out what we're doing, what we're not doing, right? Because we have to serve them so they can serve the community that we're here to serve. Equally so, we're having ongoing conversations with Penrose regarding Montgomery Heights, City View, Senior City View family, of bringing those assets back into our housing stock, which allows us to expand the number of affordable housing units, as we did with, quote unquote, the Roseman properties earlier this year. Equally so, as it was mentioned, the phones are back up and running. If anyone wasn't aware of that, we've had that out for a couple of weeks now to make sure everyone is aware that they are able to reach out to our offices regarding anything that they need.
Hey, Rome wasn't built overnight. And I'm not asking people to give us grace and to sit and squalor while someone figures it out. What I am saying is if you see progress, let's acknowledge it. We all understand that there's things that still have to be done, and I can take ownership of those, and we're always going to continue to move forward to get those things done, right? But as I tell the staff that work with me, if you see something, say something. If you see someone that has a pit bull, if you don't want to tell your maintenance, call a work order. We just need to have that information because I don't know, because they typically don't walk the pit bull till we've gone home. If you see that there's some type of crime going on, call security. Our director of security, assistant director are available 24 hours a day. I cannot take action unless I know, and telling me about it 3 or 4 months, 6 weeks later doesn't address your issue, right? So we want to be as responsive as possible, but we ask you to use the vehicles to get us that information in a timely manner. I am all for people going to City Hall and other forums to voice their concerns. I just wish they would come to us. I wish they would go to their manager. I wish they would put the work order in. I wish they would come down to 500 so we can address it here. Because when they have the conversations in the city council meeting, city council contacts us, and then we go look at it. So it's a delay. It further delays resolution as opposed to just coming here. This is the place to do that if it's regarding housing choice vouchers or public housing in the city of Newark. So please let us be your voice as we are the landlord. I turn it over to the commissioners.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you and IT for the phones finally being hooked up. Thank you. I would also like to thank you for the update, Section 8 inspections. I have to bring that up. But I have a question. If HUD cuts off funds, will that affect our annual plan and the things that we have planned to do?
If it's a grant year, we have already received the funds for it. No. If it's a future grant year, then yes.
Okay. So our plan is still good.
The current annual plan is correct.
Okay. Okay. I yield, sir.
I do believe that you are leading us into a direction of self-sufficiency, right?
That's
We don't want to have to depend on. We want to be led to take care of ourselves. We got the means to do it.
Agreed. So we have a significant number of assets that aren't tied to the federal government that we can redevelop, that we can sell, that we can acquire funds to A, keep the doors open, B, make sure we have enough in reserves in case something goes wrong in DC, that we can still keep business going, but also so we can start generating revenue so that we can build, that we can improve on those assets. Again, those are long-term things to try to sell, to try to acquire a $20 million asset. It's not something that happens in a couple of weeks. Typically, that's something that happens over a year or so. Right. There are a number of constructions that you all have seen here in Newark, and it takes a significant amount of time for a building to come up. Right. And there were conversations that happened before the building even came up. So it is not something that happens at the snap of a finger. It's work. And that work isn't completed until there's a ribbon cutting. Well, I'm going to run before you change your mind.
Thank you.
So on that note, if we can move right into the items for approval, January 2025 board report. There are no questions. Just need
Second.
Commissioner Carter. Yes. Commissioner Council. Yes. Commissioner Washington. Yes. Commissioner Hawk. Yes. Chairman Lee.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Second item is the January 2025 board transfers. Mover for that.
Move it.
Second.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Chairman Logan.
Yes.
Moving to the resolution for this evening. The first resolution, ACDP, page 25-0-02-01. Newark House Authority Board of Commissioners approves and authorizes the executive director to submit the annual Section 8 management assessment program certification to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, reporting the Newark House Authority as a standard performer at 81.4%.
Move it.
Second. Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Council.
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk.
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
Next item is central maintenance, H25-20-02-02. Housing Authority Board of Commissioners authorize executive director to execute a shared service agreement with the City of Newark Department of Water and Sewer Utilities for emergency services of sewer vector jet or contractor to respond to sewer main backups, perform routine sewer inspection services, and conduct quarterly preventative maintenance at various Newark Housing Authority properties for an initial term of 1 year and an amount of $255,000 per year, with an option to review at the sole discretion of the Newark Housing Authority for 1 additional year and an aggregate amount not to exceed $510,000 for 2 years, whichever comes through this first.
Move it.
Second, Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Council. Commissioner Washington.
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk. Chair. Motion passes. HCD H2520-2-02-03. The Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners authorize the executive director to extend the project-based voucher housing assistance payment contract for the Newark Genesis Apartments USA in accordance with federal regulation at 24 CFR 983 and notice PIH 2017 Question?
Yeah, Chair.
Yes.
We had asked if the business people to try out if the bill violations. Movement on this resolution.
Going to have Mr. Ramsey come up and answer that question for us?
Good afternoon. There were no other violations other than what we were checking on what we spoke on before as far as the, there were no abatements or any of the units that we were approving for the extension.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, stay with me, Mr. Ramsey, because we have another one coming up. Okay. Second.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Council.
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk.
Yes.
Chairman Logan.
Yes.
Motion passes, the resolution passes. ACDH -25-20-02-04. The Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners authorize the executive director to extend the project-based voucher housing assistance payments contract with St. Clair Homes and there's a federal regulation CFR 983 and HUD notice 2017-1. Continue for the housing for low-income families.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner?
we asked the same question at the business meeting as it relates to make sure that no payment issue.
Yes, that is correct. Those were checked and verified that there were no abatements pending that would have prevented us from offering this extension.
I move it.
Okay, roll call. Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Council.
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Moving right along, Executive Office H25-20-02-03. 02-05. The Newark Housing Board of Commissioners approved the following amendments to the bylaws of the Newark Housing Authority Scholarship Foundation, Article 2, Section 1, trustees, changing the makeup of the board from at least 4 members and not more than 7 members to at least 5 members, but not more than 11 members, and adding that the board of trustees of the foundation shall consist of at least 1 scholarship foundation alumni. Second, change Article 4, Section 1, meetings, change the frequency and schedule of meetings from there shall be at least 2 meetings of the foundation. 1 of which shall be held on the first Monday in May of each year at 4 p.m. The other shall be held on the first Monday in December of each year at 4 p.m. There shall be 4 meetings per year held each quarter. Dates and times to be determined in the calendar year by the Foundation president. Second. Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk?
Yes.
Chairman Moses?
Yes.
Motion passes. Executive order H to the executive office, H2520-02-06. Resolution of the Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners appropriate the following members of the Newark Housing Authority Scholarship Foundation Board of Trustees: Term Jr. Lonnie Jackson Scott, Kevin Pryor, Celia King, Ricardo Lee, Zachary D. Lewis, Lisa Trust, and Spencer.
Move it.
Second.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk?
Yes.
Chairman Moses?
Yes.
Resolution is approved. Executive Office H25-20-02-07. Resolution that the Newark Housing Board of Commissioners approve and adopt the Newark Housing Authority procurement policy as written. Any questions? Have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Crowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Council? Yes. Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk?
Yes.
Chairman Logan?
Yes.
CR H25-20-02-08. That the Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners authorize the executive director to execute a contract for sale of urban renewal property located at 19-21 Law Street, New Jersey, lot 2836, lots 2021, two vacant contiguous parcels measured between 0.19 acres to the Department of Water and Sewer of the City of Newark for an appraised value of $1,080,000.
Move it.
Second.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Commissioner Council? Yes. Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk?
Yes.
Chairman Logan?
Yes.
Moving right along, motion is carried. Human Resources H25-20-202-09. Resolution that the Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners authorize the executive director to execute a contract with any necessary purchase with PCOM Software Incorporated for the implementation and provision of a human capital management system, including modules of core, HR, payroll, time and labor, talent management, benefits administration, learning management, and performance management for an initial term of 3 years in an amount not to exceed $250,000 per year, with options to renew at NHA's discretion for 2 additional 1-year terms for an aggregate contract amount not to exceed $250,000 for 5 years, whichever comes first. I think you have a representative from the PACOM here. If there's any questions?
What do you think, Director Carter?
I think we need to go with the system.
Did you like this?
I do.
Move it.
I move.
Second. Commissioner Council? Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Yes.
Commissioner Hawk?
Yes.
Chairman Logan?
Yes.
I apologize, Commissioners. Resolution passes. CRPT H25-20-02-10. Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners authorize the executive director to award 51 project-based vouchers and executing a housing assistance payment contract with 260 Washington Street. Urban Renewal LLC selected through request for proposal RFP 24-X-13 for provision of affordable housing to families earning extremely low income in accordance with federal regulation 24 CFR. We have a representative. Any questions?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner, there was a question asked at the business meeting. Did we receive the information? I reviewed the information.
There was an email sent out, but I can always send that again or explain it.
Thank you. Was it sent out?
This afternoon. Yeah.
Can we not, can we table so we have an opportunity?
Of course.
To review and watch the,
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Council,
yes.
Commissioner Washington,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopper. Chairman,
yes.
motion carries. Human Resources to H25-20-02-09 of the Newark House of the Board of Commissioners authorizing executive director to execute a contract and make necessary corrections. I'm sorry. I got myself mixed up here. Yes. I apologize, I confused myself. We are at Executive Office H25-20-02. Resolution that the Newark Housing Authority Board of Commissioners approve and adopt the Newark Housing Authority disposition policy as presented. I'm just speaking to that. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner Council,
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
Yes.
Commissioner Hopper. Chairman,
Yes.
motion. These are resolutions for this.
Mr. Chair. Can we have an update, probably not now, but throughout the course of the week, on where we are with properties that were closed down?
The properties that were closed down.
Yeah, with the ones that were closed down because of engineering concerns or.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we'll provide that in. Are there any other items? It's 6:21.
You good, Commissioner?
Yeah.
Motion on adjourn.
Commissioner Council, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Hopper. Commissioner Hopper. Chairman Zorn. Commissioner Chairman. Jack, let's go close and 6:21.
21.